Here's the headline. One Punch Man Season 3? It's coming out. We got a date. It's the 5th of October, airing in Japan. This was confirmed the same day as when a very short promo dropped. A very much necessary pulse check for the series. After months of worry and audience silence, we really all thought trouble. We thought it was over. However, the clip is only 15 seconds of new content, barely more, than 2 blinks, but it does, plant a bit of a metaphorical flag in the dirt. Finally, their marketing team is starting to make some form of noise, because no one even knows this anime is coming unless you're a bit of a fanboy. And the OP has been announced. Once again, we get Jam Projects. They're being accompanied by Baby Metal. And the name of the opening is Get No Satisfied. Is that a bad omen? However, Jam Projects will do well regardless of the quality of the rest of the series. And the outro is being sung by Saitama's voice actor. I'm not sure how enthusiastic he's going to get with it, but hey, I'm more than interested to see what happens. But the part that matters the most isn't the date or the sting of the theme song, right? It's the face attached to Season 3. One thing we've learned about Season 1 to 2 is that the director means everything in anime production. And we have been given, at long last, 1 month before the season airs, who the director is. How have we not known this before? Shimpei Nagai. A name a lot of fans didn't expect, because who the fuck is he? Bro walked out on day 1 and just earned the silence. He explained why he kept his involvement under wraps. He explains his new workflow and acknowledges our anxiety, the fact that we have been given no information, and how Season 2 was such a train wreck that we're all living in constant fear of what the fuck we're gonna get. So he announces himself and then also comes forward with an apology. Usually the apology comes after you do something wrong, so I'm really hoping he didn't do something wrong. So let's just go into detail about what is officially confirmed. Let's line up the concrete facts clean and quick. It's broadcasting October 5th. The staff slate now reads: composition by Torihoko Suki, good, that's a returning, and another returning score by Mahako Mahezaki, also very good. The character design team includes Shikakashi Kikuboda, good, we have him from last time too, alongside Shinjiro Kuroda and Roshike Shibikara. I'm sorry if that's wrong. And yes, J.C.STAFF remained at the wheel. If you've been wasting Season 2, here's a bit of a reality check for you. People fell in love with the timing, clarity, and comedy of Season 1. Season 2 made people question whether the show remembered any of what made Season 1 special. So for the past, 6 years, it made people question whether the show remembered what made One Punch Man to begin with. Okay, so let's have a look at the apology, because it's pretty scary to get an apology this early. And we're just going to read through it, pretty clearly. First, Nagai acknowledges the backlash immediately and asks for people to hear him out. He explains that he specifically asked for his involvement to be kept a secret, for fear his relatively unknown name would tank first impressions, in a space that feeds on a director's face card. Not sure what that means, but I assume it means reputation. So far, this comes across as unusually candid for what's coming from a professionally produced anime. He also makes it very clear and situates his skill set, and that's in a hybrid of 2D and 3D animation. So he's obviously scared of people just saying it's CG slop and running away. He cites his past work, CGWORLD, in discussion, where he outlined the idea of bridging pipelines to create more time in the production. His exact phrasing about squeezing out even 1 more second of animation. And he closes the core statement with a straightforward apology. I sincerely apologize for keeping quiet about this. Then he just says that the team is giving it their all. He's not going to share any more sensitive details about the production, but he'll answer what he can in this thread. This is pretty interesting because not only does it kind of scare me a little in terms of the fear of the production, but it sounds like it's a scheduling nightmare as much as it is a production one. There's also a personal note that jumps off the page personally for me. Nagai says that he wanted to continue working at Manglobe, the studio behind Samurai Champloo and Gangsta, before that path closed to him and JC became his long-term home for storyboards and direction. He says, for me that lands hard. I'm attracted to Manglobe and Gangsta on a gut level. The reminders that the production can have a soul and still lose in the pipeline. So when the director openly references that lineage and then talks about his workflow after, rather than I'll make it look like Season 1 or I'll take it as a green light for realism and I'm gonna do 1-to-1 with the manga, He's being brutally honest here, which is something that we do not get. And one that's actually quite refreshing to hear after all this time with no information, where we've had nothing to go off. It's really enticing to me, at least this part, because in case you didn't know, I absolutely adored Gangsta and Shower Shampoo, but I loved Gangsta. It's one of my biggest videos on the channel. In that video, I cover everything from the production to the story to what happened to it. And knowing that this guy worked on it genuinely gives me a bit of hope to the soul of the product, whether it's, in production hell and actually just doesn't turn out quite right. At least I know that there was a guy who respected stories in here, and he wasn't just making a product to meet ends meet. And then there's a few follow-ups. He addressed questions about his prior adult-oriented credits. Basically, he did some not safe for work stuff in which was very 3D heavy, and he says this is something he's honed over the past 20 years, his 2D to 3D hybridized pipeline. Let's hope that this pipeline works out pretty good, because the CG in season 2 wasn't bad. So if we can get something comparable to that while the soul still stays in terms of the rest of the stuff that we've missed, that's better than season 2. So it's genuinely very serviceable, at least to me. Miyazaki's best known director, his credits are for slice of life stuff, short form, anime and micro series, which can work very well for One Punch Man because, there's a lot of crossover with that deadpan humor. And when it comes to like action oriented stuff, his revenue, it's not looking amazing. And what does his 2 to 3D pipeline mean? Well, his use of 3D for space. Think about it, like rooms, stairs, cities, with use for camera pans and pathing in general, allowing you to essentially move the camera around these crazy environments. And it saves a lot of time where you would be having to draw every single frame and then lay the 2D hand-drawn animation on top, the stuff that we're supposed to be looking at, supposed to be paying attention to. This actually might be really good. It might lean away from those sort of anime speed lines that we get where it's just a character and what looks like a Kamehameha going on behind them, just because that's how you display movement on a budget. So if they get the 2D done right, I'm very willing to put up with whatever 3D elements that we have to deal with. I saw this 70% done to go post on Twitter, and I thought it was from the official account, but after going through and looking for it, I can't find it anywhere. But essentially it claimed that the anime was only 70% done and had this progress bar. If that was true, then that is actually really scary. We have 30 days to get out a product that is only 70% done. 30% of it has to happen in 30 days. They have to get 1% done every day. That is terrifying in terms of anime production. So I really hope that is a rumor and not actually the truth, but the answer of whether it is true or not is on screen now, if I just so happen to run into it after this recording. Season 3, by all means, is One Punch Man's anime's last chance. It has no hype going for it. I'm sorry, there's no one gagging for this anime, so if it fumbles, it's done. But what do we need as an audience from One Punch Man? We need faithful character design. Kubota is back in the mix, and that should help. But Kubota was in before, and they kind of really screwed up the character designs in season 2. Characters have insanely sharp chins, and just Saitama has a really sharp chin in multiple shots in season 2, and everything is just a bit off. People's heads aren't the same way. King, for example, is a really good person to look at. His design is nowhere near the manga in terms of his face shape and his tattoo and his scar, which is the entire reason King is a character is because he looks scary. So make him look scary and don't make the scar this flat smudge mark on his face. And also, these character designs, even if they're a little off, they need to remain consistent within the story. You can't just switch between character designs halfway through an arc. A quality of animation. I'm not saying we need insane beautiful animation, but we need a quality of animation that makes Murata's art from the manga still feel like it's present within it, if that makes sense. We don't need season 2 miracles. We just need readable fights, like wide inserts, wide honest debris and vector, all these items flying around the place, because destruction in architecture is massive in this section of story. So it's actually really important that we get some of those physics on screen. And I'm glad that they're going with 3D, because this would be really, really hard to achieve in 2D. This is where the hybrid pipeline that we've been yapping about can genuinely shine. Summarization of like basically everything. Nagai seems genuine. He owned up to his quiet nature. He explained the process, and he's got Manglobe DNA in his toolkit. Gangsta is a really, really good anime to have being worked on, at least in my books. This guy might not be well known, but that doesn't mean that he can't pull it off. I'm choosing hope. The date is locked, the new trailer is out, although we have been given so little. Even this isn't much. That this product that I adore so much can finally at least have a respectful return to form.